Once you've got your design completed in 2D Design, then you need to change the colour of some of the objects to let the laser cutter know what you want to do. So select the text with your select tool, change the engraving to red, and then you need to export the file. Using the export file from the file menu, click on the drop down, change the file type to DXF, which is drawing exchange format, and then we're going to select the USB pen that we're going to save our work on and take it across to the laser cutter. So save your file name, and once you've done that, you can then click on the save button. It's always a good idea as well, once you've saved your work or exported your work, just to save it in 2D Design as well. So now you can take a USB pen out of the machine and then put it into the laser cutter computer, and then we need to import the file that you saved earlier or you exported earlier on. So go to Import, Vector Formats and Drawing Exchange Format. Now that will allow you to import your file, and we're going to choose Wave Shape. Click on Wave Shape and then click on Open, and we don't want to convert it to inches, so click on the No button. And now we need to make the laser cutter know what we want to do. Click on the little drop down next to the red box at the top there. We need to click on Red and Engrave, and then click on Set. That tells the laser cutter we want to engrave the red ones, and do the same again for the black one, but this time we're going to go on to Cut Through. And click on Set and then click on OK, and now the laser cutter knows. We're going to just check to make sure. Click on the red is engrave, and then if we go down to black you can see that's cut through. Right, we're now going to remove any information in the computer, so we need to go up to Output, click on Output, and then Material Manager and Delete, and in here you might find some information that was there beforehand, so click on the object and click on Delete. Now we need to Output, so Output and Cut Design, and we'll click on to make sure the material is correct. In this case we're going to use a 4mm acrylic. We can click on OK, and then we're going to just check to make sure it's the correct material, so click on Material Manager and we can see there it's 4mm acrylic. We're going to output one of these objects rather than a load of them. You can change that if you want to, and then we're going to make sure it's the design we're going to output. Turn the machine off down at the bottom right hand side. Slide our work in under the laser cutter head, nice and carefully, not to touch the laser cutter head. Once it's in, we need to make sure we set the laser cutter lens up to the correct height. You need to undo the small black dial, and that will allow the lens to move freely up and down. We're then going to set it to the correct height, and in this case we're going to use a piece of 4mm acrylic just to slide underneath the lens head. Once it's just touching the piece of acrylic, tighten the dial up nicely and remove the material. And now we can switch the machine on and close down the lid to protect the laser cutter. Set the machine up so that it starts in the right place, so press Material and then Enter, and then using the cursor buttons you need to move the laser cutter head across to the correct position on the material, and as you can see we're just going to shift it across to the right hand side and up and pop it in the right place in the bottom left hand side of your piece of material. Once you've done that, press Enter, and we're going to then take the laser cutter head across to the top right hand side of our material so that the laser cutter knows how much material we've got to play with. We're just going to shift it up to there in the corner. Once it's in the right place you can press Enter again and it'll zip back down to the bottom left hand corner. Now is the time to cut it, and then we'll click on Send to Cutter, and once you've clicked on Send to Cutter the material will then start to cut out. You can see here it's just cutting the material. This has speeded up this particular section, and it's doing the cut first of all, and once it's done the cut it'll then do the engrave. Here's the engrave section, nice and quickly, obviously speeded up by 3 times. So once it's done, turn the machine off using the emergency stop button, or you can use the small red button on the bottom left hand side. Once the machine is finished and switched off, we can then lift up the lid and remove the material. Be careful not to touch the head of the laser cutter. And Once the material's out, you've then got your piece of work finished.